So my name is Beth Burrows. I'm the general manager here at Down One Bourbon Bar, also 321 Deli and Two Dips and a Shake ice cream shop. So with a rye, traditionally made with rye, what they had available, right? They're Canadian rye. So when you're in Manhattan, the thing that you have available to you would have been the Canadian rye. So it makes perfect sense that that was the way that it was created. That's the way it played along and did so well for a while. Prohibition hit, obviously, the whole craft cocktail movement died. We went into our kind of dark ages, if you will. And after that, in the reemergence, bourbon was something that we had at our hands readily available. So it was kind of a transition of convenience, I believe. And then people started to realize that bourbon could hold up just as well, and as well as transitioning into drinking Manhattans. You know, if you give someone a rye off the get, it may be hard for them to take. And a sip.
Take a sip.
Well, the perfect Manhattan, I would have to say, would something that's really well balanced. So while using bourbon, it is going to be a sweeter cocktail. And when doing that, you want to counterbalance because you are using sweet vermouth as well. So you want to make sure that that sweet vermouth isn't, one, overpowering, and two, isn't so excessively sweet that you're really creating some sort of cocktail that's just reminiscent of like the 90s cocktails. You want to make sure that there's an absolute great balance. And then the bitter side of things, which is an amazingly fun aspect to it. So I like to play around. Honestly, probably my absolute favorite would be a great high proof bourbon, and then add onto that the Barolo Chinato sweet vermouth, only doing about a ½ ounce to 3/4 of an ounce of that because it is kind of overpowering. And then the bitter side of it, whiskey barrel bitters are my bar ketchup. I absolutely adore them. And lately, peach bitters has been kind of on my palate. So I would say perfect Manhattan, high proof, great sweet vermouth, and then two bitters that complement each other well.
Hi, Damian Cook, bartend over at Proof on Main here in Louisville, Kentucky. Been there for just over a year now. So my ideal Manhattan, basically call me a purist or old school guy, whatever, but the 1870s Manhattan, rye, sweet vermouth, bitters. I prefer stirred and up. I prefer a little heavier on the bitters, so 4 dashes of bitters for me. And instead of the 2-to-1, I go 2 to 3/4 of sweet vermouth because I want the rye to really stand out and be the predominant feature of that cocktail. And I like the spiciness of the rye, like the sweetness of the vermouth, but the bitters and the rye are kind of the star of the show for me. So I like to turn that up and turn the sweetness down just a touch. And you walk in, you say a Manhattan, I am thinking rye immediately. Everybody has their personal preference. Mine's right. Honestly, to the bourbon Manhattan drinker, enjoy what you like, but when it all comes down to the end of the day, the rye Manhattan's king. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. Cheers.
Let's